The Black Crag, home to one of the richest iron mines in all the Badlands, and defended by a near limitless horde of Greenskins, Grimgor Ironhide is poised to defend this important mine from an all-too-common foe. The Chaos Dwarfs, or the Dawi-Zhar as they are known in their native tongue, pour out of the mountains from their home in the Darklands, Zharr-Naggrund, bringing all manner of twisted beasts such as the feared Lammasu and the dreaded Inkari. They use their slave armies against their own kin, as orc fights orc, to determine who will be the new ruler of the Black Crag. Today, folks, we're going to be using the Chaos Dwarf mod by Sleepy on the beautiful Black Crag map by Watriox. Turin and I will be manning the Chaos Dwarfs against a combined army of mighty Greenskins played by Gobbo King and Black Iron. So let's see how this plays out. My army here is consisted of two separate armies kind of broken up a little bit here, and hopefully I'll use this slow-mo time to break this all down for you. So we're doing my typical zoom in here. We have some lovely goblin slaves followed by other goblin slaves and some orc slaves. I wanted a real strong slave presence to pour into what is two main entryways on my side of the Black Crag, as well as two on Turin's side. I have some slave ogres as well to kind of act as a big vanguard to push through, and some hobgoblin cutthroats as well. The hobgoblin cutthroats, I'm not really sure what they did. They seemed fun. They had silver shields, so screw it. Let's have some fun with them. But the goblin slaves and the orcs are just terrible. They're supposed to be expendable, poor leadership, high unit count. You're throwing them in there to absorb damage. Even the ogres, though, poor leadership, but they have a nice ogre's charge. From tabletop, that actually does damage before you can even do any close combat. So I'm not really sure how it fully plays out in this, but I really enjoyed having them in there. Especially just look at the size of these meat mountains. Oh god, look like they're all named Boris. But they have armor piercing too, which is nice in case there's any black orcs in the way to kind of hold the line. Now, making up the actual stalwart backbone and back line here, I've got my immortals, which are beautiful models, look almost exactly like they did in tabletop. You have that kind of like static pose the tabletop had back in the day with the Chaos Dwarfs, which was kind of fun. But they're armored, armor piercing. They're the damage dealers of sorts, you know. So they're doing magic damage with their giant great axes here, and you've got a little bit of some AP as well on these units. And then we're coming over to the Infernal Guard. Zoom on into you little guys. Also beautiful units as well, but they're armored and shielded, and they've got a little bit of a charge defense. So they're a bit more of a hold the line type infantry with their really high armor here. Not as much melee attack, but they're really going to still be able to do some serious damage here. That's just your typical axe infantry. Then we just have your standard Chaos Dwarf line unit here. Again, armored and shielded. A little bit less so than the Infernal Guard, but still you have a pretty beastly army, just like you would, or I'm sorry, a beastly tanky unit, just like you would expect from any dwarf, really. So we've got that. Then we've got a nice little back line of Kadai Fireborn. And when I was saying that there's the feared Lammasu, that's also the dreaded Kadai, not Inkari. Inkari is a greater demon prince that fights Tyrion. But, you know, stream of consciousness being what it is. But you've got these armored, armor-piercing damage dealer. Look at how awesome these units look in general, too. Let me get a little close-up on them. There we go. Loving the way they use the Chaos Marauder units here. Really dig on these, or Chaos Warriors. Really awesome models. But they've got flaming attacks as well, so they're going to be good against any kind of troll they're going to be up against. They've got the lovely armor piercing. You can tell, by the way, that I didn't do much right off the bat, so I'm not missing out on any of the action so far. You can see Turin hasn't even moved, but he's just a terrible gamer in general, so he's not going to move. But you know, whatever. Infernal Guard long shots now. So for my backline, which consists of my two range units, so Infernal Guard long shots, again armored and armor piercing as well, but they also do decent melee, just like any other true dwarf archer or ranged unit. They also have very good melee capabilities, but they've got charge defense too, which makes them pretty handy against any kind of sneaky Greenskin cavalry in the back line here. But these are the long shots, and these are the hail shots. So these are a little bit better at getting up and up in the face of infantry. He's a little bit better at knocking down and sniping armored infantry. But those are that's our one unit over here. We have, oh my gosh. Was I just looking at the wrong one? No, I wasn't. We have my other army, which is starting to advance. That's what tripped me out here. Pretty much the same exact line here. More goblin slaves, more orc slaves, and more slave ogres as well. Just tons of Borises just chomping in there like, ooh, going to bring the X. And then we've got this little beastie here. We'll see really come to awesome fruition pretty soon. The magma cannon is anti-infantry to an extreme. And I don't want to spoil anything, but let me tell you, huge. Then we've got our lord, who is Rykarth the Unbreakable. Look at that giant armored beard. He's armored. He's if you can't tell, he's armored. Armor piercing, anti-large, unbreakable, 465 weapon strength, and he does flaming attack. So he's a pretty monstrous melee hero. And then just more Chaos Dwarf warriors in the kind of center back line, as well as Infernal Guard. And then Dwarf Pyrelocks, which are your armor piercing units again, and more Pyrelocks. And then to round everything off, we have a dreaded Lammasu. Not the way they are in tabletop. In tabletop, they're really reminiscent to the Babylonian Lammasus, who have the body of lions and the heads of these Babylonian rulers. They've got those weird, the cool beards that you see that these guys have. So, of course, it's really hard to kind of custom make that model, but I really like what they did here. So that is everything on my end. Oh, I've also got this right here. I've got some bull centaurs, you know, basically centaurs, but bull centaurs here with great weapons to kind of knock out any AP to be as cavalry, and a bull centaur render, which are more bull centaurs as well. So there's plenty of damage afoot with my units. But like I was saying, we've got these two major gateways on my end. We've got the same two on Turin's end. Turin went ahead and he went with a Bale Taurus, which looks more like a giant red flying bull in tabletop. But he went ahead and moved his ranged up in front, and he has what looks like a slave army kind of pushing in this direction, and a standard regulars type army in this direction. I broke it up into two pretty not equidistant, but equal type forces on the sides here. Oh, by the way, other little unit over here is this little hobgoblin Khan. Look, he's so cute. But let's put things into standard motion and get this bad boy going. So again, I'm coming in from both these directions with very similar army structures in both. Hopefully, this sort of unit composition will help me whittle down his front line, so my regulars, my standard infantry, can do the serious damage here. And Turin's already starting to push in through here. Got his Bale Taurus picking off tons of Night Goblins here. I don't think he went with any artillery, but he does have a Kadai destroyer. Oh, he does. He went with the Death Shrieker rocket launchers with a chemical battery. Moving everything up here, magma cannon up the line. We've got the Pyrelocks and the long shots moving up as well. I'm going to be hovering over the names a little bit because I didn't play them as much. I didn't really play Chaos Dwarfs at all in tabletop. They were just a little too... Oh, look at this nice overlapping... Oh, look at that. This is beautiful. The Chaos Ogres right... Or not Chaos Ogres. Slave Ogres right into the forward, just like I want them to. Look at that charge. Knocking things all over the place. Oh. Trolls coming in. And just what I want is just a nice choke point with these crap-ass slaver units, to be totally honest. Get that magma cannon up, though. Things starting to get quite hairy over here as the Bale Taurus just really tears apart everything, knocking the leadership down, causing terror. Got some nasty shit over here that's just kind of crapping around, but we do have some cav that can take care of it when need be. But again, you can see the poor leadership already kicking in with these goblin slaves as they're just losing. Oops, that's the wrong button. But we did get our units in range so we can start picking off some of the larger ones and adding some oh, this is what I wanted to get on. Uh-oh. Just watch this. This is coming down from the magma cannon in the back. He's got some rock lobbers shooting into my units, but this magma cannon shoots very wildly, as you can see, into my own units, splashing here, doing tons of damage. Look at all that blood and gore. Holy hot covered shit. Get that sped up to normal here. And that thing is quite devastating with his rock lobbers coming down, his goblin fanatics going hog wild. It's definitely looking like we're going to lose this gate, but let's not forget the other boy in the band, the magma cannon. 2 smoldering hot propellants coming in. Oh, boom! Look at that death and carnage. Oh, look at it. Just, it's like 2 tactical nukes went off in front of that gate with a third one pinning it down, slam into that face of that troll. Look at the bits and gore flying all over the place. That goblin didn't even have an arm left. Oh, that one's just stumps. Oh, shit. Now, I'm going to bring this back up, and we're going to see now everything was devastated by those 3 shots right there. The goblobber's still... the rock lobber's still shooting from on high over here, but I'm not too worried. We got our Rykarth here kind of helping to bolster the line. Boom, right into my own units, but I'll take it. I'll gladly take it. But the slave's working to good effect, really holding the line here. Got a Goblin Wolf Chariot, and those aren't going to be too fun to deal with. But we'll go take a look at how Turin's doing once we see where this magma bomb lands. Right into my own units again. And the thing just shoots wildly and does what it wants to do, but when it lands to real devastating effect. Again, into my own units most of the time, though. Rock Lobber started to nail into my Chaos Warriors. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Thwomp! Right into his line. Broke a Goblin Wolf Chariot right out the gate. Whew! See, Magma Cannon shoots all wild. But we do have some cav that can help out with that. Let's go take a look at Turin's line while this is happening. And we'll go through the map while we do so. Now, Turin has sufficiently broken through. He's starting to already sally up the causeway here and push into the bulk of the Greenskin army. They do have quite a bit of artillery, if you haven't noticed. The Goblin Rock Lobbers shooting into my line predominantly. My line already starting to engage across the line with all of what's left of his kind of gate fighters, but I'm not too worried about that at all. Still have a strong slave force. He's bringing his Bale Taurus here, though. It's really going to start mucking up a lot of his plans because those things are going to start being able to get into the back line and harass. But this gate has not fallen just yet, and this was the one that was predominantly slaves. His regulars army pushed through very quickly. You know what would be great right here? Just one magma bomb. That's all it needs. They do have an Orc Shaman there, just kind of eagerly waiting for a foot of Gork, I'm sure. But they're kind of reforming ranks up here. All that armored and all those bronze and silver shields are going to come to great effect to all the somewhat reduced effectiveness of the Orc RR boys, which aren't going to be doing any kind of AP damage. Bale Taurus really starting to get some flack here. Pushing in with my light cavalry units. Going to start harrying these back units with no spearmen to contest them, so that's going to be pretty useful as we push through with our regulars into that line. Again, little sneaky goblin shits. Bring that magma cannon up. We got some Chaos Dwarfs that we can bring up as well. And we just kind of got you hanging back there, huh, Rykarth? We won't draw attention to my poor micro on this. It was quite the large battle. We do got some black orcs that are hunting the mighty Bale Taurus. But don't worry, the Lammasu, flying on its staticky, fiery blue flames of death, charges into a foe. Oh, look at it, just glorious in its destructive capabilities. Using that Chaos Manticore model to great effect. Really like what they did here. But you can see that now that Turin has engaged heavily with some big guns, these guys are going to be pretty heavy, pretty hard to fight with, because they're constantly being bombarded by rock lobbers. Plenty of archery being dropped onto the Kadai Destroyer to 0 effect, because that thing's quite monstrous. But my army's starting to push in as well from this gate. Got my unit of regulars here. My pretty large and in charge slave army pushing through as well to help reinforce Turin with the Kadai Fireborn doing what they can to push through and do some damage as well. Gonna start making a firing line as well with our there they are with our Infernal Guard. But the beasts in the back starting to do some hefty damage, harassing and putting it deep in. Got a Night Goblin Shaman routing off the board here and going for those rock lobbers. Finally silencing those rock lobbers. And you can see some sneaky Night Goblin action. Charges right into my back line. Right into my my magma cannon as well as my other... I keep wanting to call them archers, but my missile infantry. Might as well charge them in, right? Seems like the right thing to do. Chaos Dwarfs being Chaos Dwarfs and all. But these are the Regiment of Renown Night Goblins, so they do have a little bit more staying power. We'll bring in the mighty Rykarth as well. But my army's kind of slowed down here, getting engaged with Night Goblins and nasty Skulkers. It's really going to help really bog things down. So we're going to be relying on this majority of my army to help reinforce Turin's very bulbous army that's attacking the Crimson Killas. We've got some other Black Orcs in here as well, with the mighty Grimgor squaring off now against Drazoth the Ashen. And this is Drazoth, which allows them to use the Hashut lore for the Chaos Dwarfs. You have to have this lore to use that. But look at this pressing mass of Chaos Dwarves. Not able to break the mighty Immortals and everything just yet, but they're definitely low in unit strength. They're going to need to rely on some Black Orc slaves and the such. Beltar, so still in good condition, even though it was suffering pretty heavily earlier. And these guys getting hit heavily by the rocket batteries in the back, and my slave army trying to push through and knock out that Night Goblin war boss. The Lammasu and the cavalry, though, charging into the rear of the Black Orcs to try and help relieve Turin here. He does have quite a bit to deal with. Hopefully we can keep him alive through the rest of the fight. These little bastards still just kind of plucking away. Got some trolls coming back online. This army starting to deal with its foes here now 100% and getting ready to start pushing forward. We do have, unfortunately, some mortals just sitting there. Just kind of watching the foe. You know, I like to watch Turin lose more so than I like to win. That's probably an important character fact about me. But we're going to rope in some Infernal Guard to go for another rear charge here. Help relieve the embattled Turin. The mighty Grimgor fighting to the last man in there. The slave army picking apart the Night Goblin war bosses. His leadership drops drastically. And I do apologize if we get some frames per second dropping. It is quite a bit of the Titanic battle. The Beltar is really just kind of roving across the land here. The Lammasu charging from foe to foe as a Manticore just whips and whaps about. On the tabletop, his tail actually does quite a bit of damage. You have to watch out for that. I'm glad they kind of incorporated at least an animation that looks like it does. Where is he? Where is the mighty Grimgor? Oh, there he is. Grimgor's starting to fade away. We got these units have now almost dead and gone. Looks like this is a mighty win for the Chaos Dwarves as we start to round up what's left of the Greenskins from the mighty Black Crag. I just love the way that a lot of these units look with the Infernal Iron Sworn. Just hacking apart these nasty Skulkers. My Immortals coming to the rescue. Don't worry, Turin, we've got this. Look at this just field of dead here through the map. One more down. One more up. Just everything from Chaos Dwarf to Greenskin to Black Orc to Goblin to regular Orc. Just filling the battlefield here. Just so awesome. So thematic. Intense firing line going off here. Mine just trying to hold the line back. Picking off every little straggler here and there. Oh yeah, just plucking away at those guys. You can see the Goblin Slays versus like the regular Goblin regulars. Oh, just look at those little guys. Little, Jesus. Alrighty. So that concludes our grand battle of Black Crag here. Sorry, the unit cards are pretty small, but you can still see 110 kills from those orcs, the slave ogres. 270 kills from the magma cannon. The Lammasu did a staggering 95. We had the bull centaur rendars doing 150. So definitely had a lot of damage coming out, especially from the bull centaur Taruk itself. And then each one of the actual regulars doing quite a handful as well. And then we take a look at Turin's army, which was a bit smaller than I thought it was. But his Kadai Destroyer did a whopping 300 kills. His Deathtrigger did 215. His Beltars 182, ripping up that back line, with his Bull Centaurs doing 195. So, and his Taruk doing 103 itself. So we definitely saw a lot of damage coming out from a lot of the bigger creatures. 244 on those Ironsworn. Holy hot covered shit. But we did see the Rock Lobbers doing quite a bit of damage on us. 150, 135, 78. What are these ones? 6. 32. But really great battle here, guys. Really loved the Chaos Dwarf mod by Sleepy was amazing, and the Black Crag map by Watriox was a really, really fun thematic fight here. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you guys are enjoying the trend of doing a lot more of these thematic battles. I really enjoy getting into the lore behind them and kind of talking about the tabletop differences here and there, and hopefully you guys are as well. If there's any thematic battles that you guys are hankering for, do let me know. We'd love to kind of cater to what you guys are really looking for. We just see these mods and say, oh man, this would be really fun, or this would be really cool. So if you have any mod suggestions or map suggestions, please let us know. And that concludes today's fight, guys. If anything else you want to know about lore-wise or anything from this fight, do let me know in the comments below. Have a good one, guys, and take care.